Starting off this countdown, we have the cup of ramen noodles. Ever wanted to know what your ramen noodles look like before hot water and delicious seasoning is poured on top of it? Well, now you can. And now, how many of you feel like this is a scam? I thought the whole damn bottom half of the cup was filled, not just a portion of the cup. This literally should be illegal. That and only filling up chip bags halfway. Like, what's up with that? Seriously, I get that ramen is cheap and all, but at least give us poor people more noodles than that. Doubt companies are gonna be too thrilled now that we have learned about this. We're on to you. Moving on at number 9, we have the bloodless heart. So I'm sure all of us know what a human heart looks like, right? I mean, like out of the body. I mean, you should, or else that's kind of concerning. Like, don't you not pay attention in school? Anyways, this photo I'm about to show you is what a human heart looks like, completely drained of blood. And I am absolutely speechless. That is not what I was expecting. And honestly, it looks really pretty. Is that weird for me to say? I don't know. At first I was like, oh, that's a piece of raw chicken. And then I was like, oh, no, it's like quartz or a gemstone or something. No, it's a goddamn human heart. Mind blown. Coming in at number 8, we have the big lighters. So I was today years old when I found out that big lighters are just little lighters with an extended point. This literally feels like a scam. When you buy a bigger lighter, you're hoping to get more use out of it. But no, it's just a regular lighter, meaning it has the same amount of lighter fluid, meaning you're paying more and getting the same. I will say it's more handy because it's easier to use and helps me not burn my little fingies, but still, this feels illegal. Just goes to show that size doesn't matter and don't judge a book by its cover or whatever people say, okay? My whole life is a lie now. Coming in at number 7, we have the turtle's mouth. Turtles are really freaking cute, right? And aside from snapping turtles, they're pretty slow and harmless creatures. I personally think turtles are so cute. But this next image completely changed my mind. So this image is the inside of a turtle's mouth. Yeah, you heard me. I have never seen anything that creepy before. I thought I was looking inside of an alien's mouth or something. But nope. Apparently the spikes help trap food to prevent it from coming out of their mouth. But that's why plastic is so dangerous for turtles. If they eat it and realize they can't digest it, it's hard for them to get rid of it because of these alien spikes. It often gets stuck on the spikes, which is really sad. But anyways, next time you see a turtle and you're like, oh my god, they're so cute and innocent, just remind yourself of the evil that lurks in their mouth. I also apologize for all you turtle lovers out there. Sorry. In our 6th spot, we have the unrecognizable objects. Pretty recently, this photo went viral on the internet. Why? Because it disturbed so many viewers. Take a look at this photo and tell me what you see. That's the thing. It's virtually impossible to identify any of the familiar objects. It's wild and leaves you feeling very unsettled. It's like you know what you're seeing, but your brain just can't comprehend it or put a name on it. According to Dr. Frank McAndrew, a psychology professor, he said, and I quote, "Trying to interpret an ambiguous image like this sparks uncertainty, which can lead to feeling creeped out. When a person is unsure if something could be harmful, it's normal to experience a sense of unease. We also can get creeped out by confusing things that press competing buttons in our brain, making it hard for us to categorize or understand what we are looking at." So, there you go. That's why this image is freaking everyone out. I just wish that the poster would come forward and tell us what the hell we're looking at. Like, what is it? I'm not okay. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the Flesh Lego Man. So I ruined turtles for you, now it's time to ruin Lego for you, yay! Now what the actual hell is this? Someone decided to make a flesh Lego man? I am deeply disturbed and I have so many questions. The first one being why, the second one being why, and the third being why? So this was created with the help of special effects makeup artist Frank Ippolito and the team at Tested.com. They decided to dress a man up as this terrifying Lego real-life fleshy man and have him hang out at the San Diego Comic-Con. But honestly, we still don't know why they did this, besides wanting to terrify children and make it so I never sleep again. I honestly think the worst part are its hands. It's got Lego claw hands, but has a freaking nasty fingernail. That's a no from me. Coming in at number 4, we have the doll. In 2018, @CatScottLou on Twitter tweeted a picture of this photo and it quickly spread like wildfire. This is a picture of a doll whose face has been removed and then replaced with another doll's face. And apparently this was the works of her little sister. who a lot of people are now concerned for. Apparently, she is obsessed with doing this. She has also done this with stuffed animals as well, which is very concerning. That's some Norman Bates, Buffalo Bill, Ed Gein behavior right there. I'd run if I was her. Next thing you know, she's performing these surgeries on real people. Moving on to number 3, we have meatloaf. And yes, it's as bad as it sounds. Some deranged person decided to, instead of making a traditional meatloaf, to take the meat and form it into a person's foot. The worst part is the onions for the toenails. Okay, so 10 out of 10 for creativity and the name, negative 100 out of 10 for doing this though. I'm sure when it was cooked though, it changed its shape and didn't look as bad, but this is something I just did not need to see today. In fact, meatloaf is bad enough as is. Making it into feet isn't going to make it more enjoyable to eat. Moving on to number 2, we have the unknown figure. This is one image that I wish I could erase from my mind completely. It features an individual hunched over while on their tippy toes and fingers, wearing this creepy mask. What's even scarier is that I have no clue where this image came from. I tried reverse image searching and just found a lot of blogs/posts talking about it, but no one actually knows who posted it or took it or why. This is the definition of a cursed image. So if any of you know the backstory to this photo, please let me know in the comments below so it can stop cursing my sleep. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Antran. While finding pictures for this video, I stumbled upon this nightmarish one. It features a skinny, creepy robot alongside 2 kids. Obviously, I was curious about learning more in hopes to find the origin of this photo and if the robot went on to kill a number of people, but all that popped up was a creepypasta called Antran. The creepypasta goes as so. According to the narrator of the creepypasta, this photo was taken in the 70s and features their son on the left with their robot Antran, who they adopted into their family. This is also the only remaining image they have of their son. So they found this robot at a garbage dump. Someone had tried to throw him away. I wonder why. But they were amazed, so they took him home. In the end, Antran turns evil, torments the family, and eventually kidnaps the son. Now, of course, this is just a creepypasta, but it's wild how I can't even find the source of this image. A lot of people are in the same boat as me. They have been searching for years to no avail. The image is creepy enough on its own. It's even creepier not knowing the photo's backstory. All right, guys, that's all for today's video. Let me know in the comments below which one of these photos creeped you out the most. Honestly, the turtle? Never expected that. And I just, ugh. Oh, no thanks. Starting off this countdown, we have the retired tires. Automobile tires are one of the top polluters in the US, and the problem keeps getting worse and worse. Every year, automobiles produce 246 million waste tires in the US alone. Imagine how many more millions of tires are thrown out globally. It's quite shocking. These tires then end up polluting our lakes, streams, streets, and soil. This photo shows you a dumping ground in Nevada. This area used to be a recreational play area until 2006, when it became a dumping ground. Not just for tires though, but for other items that people no longer needed. It's very sad. This photo shows the harsh reality of the world. We're literally killing it slowly but surely. Moving on to number 9, we have the witch. In 2006 in Mexico, a strange object was seen flying in the sky. As a result, a couple of bystanders decided to film this weird object. The people you're about to hear in the video are talking about a balloon. That's what they think that they're seeing. But see for yourself. So that is definitely not a balloon. Look at its shape. Upon closer inspection, a number of people believe that this object was in fact a witch on her broomstick. I'll let you decide what you think it is. Maybe it's just garbage floating in the wind, or maybe it's something much darker. Moving on to number 8, we have the hologram. In November of last year, a video went viral as it shows what appears to be Pope Francis vanishing into thin air on live TV. Basically, the Pope stepped to his window to honor the victims of COVID and acknowledge the frontline workers. The clip shows him going to his window, and as he's walking away, he disappears into thin air. This led people to believe that he's a hologram, like he straight up just glitched in real life. In our 7th spot, we have the polluted water sources. In December of 2011, the Jiang River in China turned a deep red color and it frightened the locals. Turns out that the water turned this color from 2 illegal chemical plants dumping their waste into the rain sewer pipes. This is very concerning, primarily because polluted water sources have been linked to a rise in cancer villages. This is the name given to areas where cancer rates are high among people due to the polluted waters. What's scary is that these factories would have continued dumping their waste illegally had they not been caught. Hundreds, even thousands of manufacturers worldwide might be doing the same as well, and slowly poisoning us. Coming in at number 6, we have the doll. I don't know about you, but dolls creep me out. Barbies are fine, Polly Pockets are chill, but Raggedy Ann dolls or porcelain dolls, no, I don't mess with those. Anyways, why am I talking about dolls? Well, in this next video, a girl is playing with her Barbie dolls as her dad films. And then, things take an unexpected turn, literally, when one of the dolls' heads turns. Check it out.
Sora, vem comer!
Tá bom!
Now, I don't know if this is fake or real, but either way, it's pretty creepy. Like, the doll literally whips its head towards the girl. If I was her, I'd sleep with one eye open because it looks like Barbie is coming for her. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the doll in the wall. Yay, more creepy dolls. I'm telling you, they are no good. So in September of last year, a new homeowner, Jonathan Lewis, decided to break down this area under the stairs that had been boarded up. But as soon as he did so, he immediately regretted it. In that boarded up area, he found a creepy old rag doll clutching a note. The note sent shivers down his spine. The note read, and I quote, "Dear reader/new homeowner, thank you for freeing me. My name is Emily. My original owners lived in this house in 1961. I didn't like them, so they had to go. All they did was sing and be merry. It was sickening. Stabbing was my choice of death for them, so I hope you have knives. Hope you sleep well." Wow, what a nice home warming message. Time to lock that doll back up where it came from or move out, or both. In our 4th spot today, we have the Skinwalker. A Skinwalker is said to be this witch or demon that can turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. Well, the individual that recorded this video believes that they captured a Skinwalker taking form as a goat. See for yourself. That goat straight up just stood up and started walking like a normal human being. Obviously, this is not natural behavior for a goat. So what's up with that? If it ain't possessed or a skinwalker, then it's a glitch in the Matrix. And there's something suspicious about that chicken too, like the way it was just following the goat. Those two are up to no good. Moving on at number 3, we have the Mothman. The Mothman is a creature that originates from West Virginia folklore. Apparently, it's a large 10-foot tall gray creature with red glowing eyes and wings and has the ability to fly over 100 miles per hour. This creature has been spotted a number of times. In particular, it's believed that once you see him, bad things are going to happen. So he's kind of like an omen. In fact, people say that they saw him several days before the Chernobyl power plant explosion. In another instance, he reared his ugly head during the 2011 Japanese earthquake and tsunami. People videoing the destruction caused by these disasters caught this weird black flying creature on film. It looks as if it disappears and reappears a number of times in the video. Could this be the infamous Mothman? Some people seem to think so. Coming in at number 2, we have the mermaid. In 2013, 2 men in Israel were out by the sea when they saw a weird creature laying on the rocks. One of the men thought that it was just a seal. The other man filming thinks it's something different. Then when the mermaid notices that she's being watched, she slides back into the sea. Take a look.
I don't think it's a seal, man. Oh my God! What is that? Did you just tell me you got that
The thing that is creeping everyone out is the fact that it turned its head to look at the men. Also, its tail does not resemble that of a seal. One commenter on the video claims that this video is real. She said, and I quote, "The way this mermaid looks, petite with dark hair and a dark tail, is exactly the way the Scots described a mer creature they found on shore back in 1830. So maybe mermaids are indeed real, and this is evidence of them. And in our number one spot today, we have Frida Sofia. This is one of the most creepiest cases I have ever heard of. In 2017, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake hit Mexico City, causing a school to collapse. Rescuers were quickly on the scene trying to free people from the rubble. As one officer was searching for lost victims, he encountered a trapped 12-year-old girl. She was found by using a thermal scanner. When rescuers made contact with her, she said her name was Frida Sofia. From there, the team was dedicated to saving her. Here's the thing. She never existed, yet a number of rescuers actually spoke to her and saw her hand wiggling under the rubble. Her name, however, was not in the school's roll book. Originally, a Navy officer told the news that there was a girl trapped there that they were trying to rescue. But then the Navy backtracked and said that all the missing people were accounted for. So who is this Frida Sofia girl that people were talking to? It's thought that maybe she was a ghost. The scariest part? In a TV interview, a ghostly girl can be seen at the site of the incident. This has led people to believe that this is the ghost of Frida Sofia. Starting off this countdown, we have the pollen. Who here is allergic to pollen and gets really bad allergies? If you do, this video is going to be a nightmare to you. Take a look at how much pollen comes off of this tree as it's being cut down. That is a lot of pollen. It almost looks fake because of how it leaves the tree. Now, imagine living in one of the houses near that tree. Rest in peace to you. My face would be swollen for days. Next time when someone doesn't understand seasonal allergies, just show them this video. Moving on at number 9, we have the bread staircase. Now, this is the definition of a cursed image. I have many questions here. The first one is why. The second, why. And third, why? Who thought to do this? Like, hey, let's take our bread and line the stairs with them. Like, why would you do such a thing? And what is its purpose? And please tell me that they threw the bread out after this image was taken. Imagine eating a sandwich in which someone's crusty, dusty toes were all over. Gross. Moving on to number 8, we have the blue lava. Now, honestly, this is really beautiful. Although it's scorching hot, I just want to touch it. Like, it looks mesmerizing. So the lava appears to be blue due to the combustion of sulfuric gases. These photos are taken from Kawah Ijen, Indonesia. So when sulfur burns, it produces a neon blue flame. Sulfur burns when it comes into contact with hot air temperatures above 360 degrees Celsius, which is 680 degrees Fahrenheit. At this place, there are really high quantities of sulfuric gas. Mixed with the high pressure and temperatures from the lava, it emits a blue color. For the lava to turn truly blue, it would require temperatures of at least 6,000 degrees Celsius, which is over 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's extremely hot. Moving on at number 7, we have the hidden meaning. So let's take a moment and go back in time when we were children, okay? Did your parents used to sing you nursery rhymes? If you answered yes, then what about the This Little Piggy song? You know, where, your toes are grabbed and pinched and you say like, this little piggy went to a market, this little piggy stayed home, this little piggy had roast beef, and this little piggy had none, and the other one went wee all the way home. You get it, okay? Whatever. Well, when we say this little piggy went to the market, aka our big toe, aka the biggest and plumpiest toe, they don't mean that this piggy went grocery shopping. No, honey, they went to a butcher. They got chopped up and then served at the market. How dark is that? Also, the whole this little piggy is eating roast beef thing, that freaks me out. Like, a pig eating a cow, that's not normal. Moving on to number 6, we have the headless Teletubbies. Never did I ever think I would see a photo of the Teletubbies cast without their heads on. There's something very disturbing about this. Also, hit that thumbs up button if you remember the show. If you don't, then I feel really old. But yeah, this definitely is a photo that we were not meant to see. It just ruins the magic of the show. Also, was anyone else afraid of the Teletubbies when they were kids, or was it just me? Like, Poe, he's evil. I'm telling you. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the X-ray. Now, who here loves dogs? I am absolutely a huge dog lover. But this is weird even to me. This is an X-ray image of a pregnant dog, but a lot of people commented on it saying that it looks like the dog is infested with parasites, and now I can't see past that. That's what it looks like, it does. Others said that it looks like the aliens are inside of them from the film Aliens. Like I said, I love dogs and all, but I did not need to see this, okay? It's a little unsettling to see. Coming in at number 4, we have the hard-hitting truth. Here is a screenshot from a post that's going to change your life. First off, we have never seen our own face. We see ourselves from reflections and pictures, but we obviously never have seen our face, like, face to face. Isn't that trippy? Like, I never thought of that before. Moving on, something is always touching you. It's true, even if you strip naked, okay? The ground is always going to be touching you. Unless you somehow find a way to just hover in the air. But even then, the wind will be touching you, and gravity, if that counts, you know? Next point, you can always see your nose. Now, you're staring at the screen right now watching this video. Now you're about to realize that your nose is always in your sight line. Moving on, your tongue never sits comfortably in your mouth. Okay? Move your awareness to your tongue. What's it doing right now? Chances are it's touching the roof of your mouth. Then we have the fact that you will never feel something exactly the same way someone else does. Hey, even our taste buds are different, so something to me could taste slightly different to you. Plus, everyone perceives things differently, even emotions. We all can love and be in love, but we all feel it differently. And lastly, you can't imagine a new color. Have fun living with these facts now. Coming in at number 3, we have the lamprey. Lamprey look like something you would see in your nightmares. It looks like a mix between a snake, an eel, and a leech. They can be anywhere from 5 to 40 inches in length, and they attack fish by sucking the life out of them. So they literally are vampires. Now here is an up-close image of a lamprey's mouth. Have fun swimming in open waters now. How disgusting is this, okay? So lamprey have 11 or 12 rows of teeth that wrap around in their mouth like a ring. Once they latch onto their victim, they use their barbed tongue to pierce the fish and drain it of its blood. They also excrete a blood thinner to prevent blood clotting. I'm telling you, this creature is from hell. Like, look at this thing. No, thank you. Coming in at number 2, we have the sweatshops. Not a lot of people know the severity of fast fashion in sweatshops. In order to make some of the clothes you wear, people are subjected to work in disgusting conditions for less than $1 an hour. Sometimes they are paid about 50 cents or less per article of clothing, and these pieces take hours to create. In fact, 97% of fast fashion is produced overseas in developing countries with poor labor laws and human rights protections, meaning they can pay them next to nothing and treat them like garbage and get away with it. This photo showcases how problematic fast fashion is. They work in dingy, dark, and cramped spaces. What's sad is that most of the workers are very young and exploited. Abuse is also a frequent problem that the workers face. Not only that, but factory fires, accidents, and collapses are sadly common. In 2013, Rana Plaza collapsed, taking the lives of over 1,000 workers. Even if it's not safe for them to work, they are forced to do so anyways. And in our number 1 spot today, we have fast fashion. The fast fashion industry is one of the world's most biggest and dangerous polluters. Pictured here are heaps of clothes polluting waterways. The image on the right is a river in China that is completely polluted by the clothing dyes from a nearby factory. Millions of tons of microplastics and fibers are contaminating the ocean and poisoning sea mammals and us as well. 100 billion items of clothing are produced each year. But guess what? 3 out of 5 fast fashion items end up in a landfill within a year of purchase. Companies are overproducing items and we are overbuying them. And then people just throw them out and they end up in landfills all around the world. These clothes can sit in landfills for 200 years without deteriorating. Not only that, but factories producing our clothing don't discard of their toxic materials or dyes properly. They are just dumped into rivers, polluting them. Fast fashion produces 20% of global wastewater. And 0.6 to 1.7 million tons of microplastic fibers end up in the ocean every year. Not only that, but one garbage truck of clothes is burned every second, meaning the soil, water, and air are constantly being polluted.
Kicking off the list at number 10, the discovery of penicillin. Sometimes miracles happen when nobody is looking. That's the key. Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin back in 1928. At the time, he was actually studying Staphylococcus, which is a bacteria that causes infections and boils and all that nasty stuff. But right before Alexander left for a 2-week vacation, he left a petri dish with some of that Staphylococcus behind. He left it on the lab table rather than stored away in an incubator. Now, during his well-needed time off, a penicillium mold spore just drifted in there magically, either through the window, up the lab stairwell, some Horton Hears a Who type commute, and the temperature of the room and lack of one Alexander Fleming allowed for the mold to fight back, furthermore preventing that bacteria from growing. He literally changed the world. He discovered this antibacterial substance, and it was only produced by the strains of penicillium. Thank you, because or else we'd be a little uncomfortable. Number 9, mass extinction. Are we part of the 6th extinction? Is it happening right now all around us? Most likely. We lose thousands of species each year, and when looking in the past, asteroids and ice ages, sure, they have all something to do with massive extinction level events, of course, but after humans invented the wheel and then discovered fire, things started to change. We kind of caused a lot of bad stuff. In the 1800s, industrialization drove up extinction rates and continues to do so. According to Elizabeth Colbert, across the world, scientists every day are monitoring what could be the largest extinction event since the dinosaurs. That's us, since the dinosaurs. It's like dinosaurs, T-Rex, and then us, equally as bad. What do you know? Arms are a bit longer now, but still, we're up to no good. The way human beings interact with the environment and affect biodiversity could be more deadly than an asteroid hitting the Earth. That's pretty eye-opening. With an ever-climbing list of endangered species, Colbert and the world asked one question. Is it too late to change it? Like, are we screwed? Most likely, but we can do our best at this point. Okay, let's move on to something a bit lighter so we don't feel like complete trash. Sounds good, let's do it. Number 8, monkey business. Okay, this study done back in 2016, I had to include it because in a list of unsettling things, this definitely fits. This is the most unsettling thing I've ever heard in my life. And yeah, that includes finding out you're part of a mass extinction level event. This one's right beside it. You ever see Planet of the Apes? The voice acting, the motion capture, Andy Serkis, he kills it. All those dots on his face, really good. The voice, nails it. It's like Caesar, it's very deep. I can't even do it. If I did, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd be doing Planet of the Apes movies. Well, it turns out in real life, they would sound even scarier than that. Research done back in 2016 showed that macaques have a vocal tract capable of speaking. The lucky thing is they just don't have the brain power to do so, or else they would sound like this. Didn't hear it? Let's hear it again. Will you marry me? That's the scariest thing. Imagine a macaque saying that to you. I would politely say, no thank you. I'd be like, no, I'm good, man, thanks. Also, your voice is so deep. Is that laryngitis? What's that? Some vitamins. I was doing fine before I heard this, so I had to bring you down with me. You're welcome. Hit that thumbs up, and also, will you marry me? Number 7, human sacrifice. Archaeology is fascinating, but the deeper we deep into the earth, the more we find out about our past. Most of the time, that's not so fun. Our past is pretty shady. Usually these findings are horrible. Not too long ago, we found the remains of a 3,000-year-old skeleton in Greece. They found the skeleton on the side of Mount Lycaon, which historians know as the site of animal sacrifice for Zeus. Ancient writers mention the site and how human sacrifice was also at play, and thanks to technology, we can now confirm that this is indeed the case, sadly. The upper part of the skull was missing, and the body was laid on 2 lines of stones, so it wasn't accidental. There were even stones laid on their pelvis, so something was going on. We look at Greece, of course, as the birthplace of philosophy, democracy, and 100-meter hurdles, and, you know, the 100-meter dash, all the Olympic stuff, that's great. But they also did some sacrificial, shady shit in their off time when they weren't slamming some Merlot. Science has allowed us to take a look all over the world as well, not just Greece. Ancient Egyptians, Aztecs, sometimes after Mayan ball games, sometimes the losing team would just be sacrificed. Yeah, good game, good game, good game, good game. Are we getting sacrificed? No, okay, good. Good game, good game, good game. Everyone talks about how awful humans are now. No, we were pretty bad always, even before we knew how to speak words or what the sun was or what the moon was. We're like, you know what? I don't know what any of this is, but all I do know is that we gotta kill each other. Number 6, whale cancer. The big C, oddly enough, doesn't affect big fish. What do you know? Well, we do know that the risk of cancer increases as you age, but the amount of cells that you have surely has something to do with it, right? So large animals like whales, obviously they have a few more cells laying around. They're a bit husky, they're a bit bigger. You would think that the odds of whales getting cancer would increase, but the reality of it is that whales and dolphins are way less susceptible to cancer than us humans. We still have no idea why. Maybe it's because whales sing a lot? I don't know, maybe if we sing to each other instead of talking and killing, we can maybe beat cancer. I don't know, worth a shot. Let's just start singing like whales. That's how we'll communicate from now on. We'll just go, and then someone else will be like, good, thank you. Number 5, MK Ultra. This one always gives me the chills. Many of you have probably heard of this at some point, but if not, well, buckle up. MK Ultra was a secret CIA project that lasted from 1953 to 1973, where they ran hundreds of experiments to US citizens without them knowing, and they gave them LSD, narcotics, anything in attempts to crack mind control, or as they called it, information gathering. It's like when Apple's like, yeah, we're just gonna gather some info real quick when we talk to Facebook, we're just gonna gather some information. They're spying, definitely. It's bad shit. In the 50s and 60s, around the Cold War, the United States believed that the Soviets, Chinese, and or the North Korean agents were using mind control. I mean, sure, how else could you explain brainwashed prisoners of war in Korea, right? That's gotta be the only explanation as to why they're acting that way. Nothing else to do with it. The program had subjects take LSD, hallucinogens, they had electric shock therapy at one point, horrible stuff and all, and it was being done in universities, hospitals, and prisons. The happenings of this project weren't fully known to the public until years after it ended, but the agency destroyed most MK documents back in 1973 when it ended. So we think we know, when in reality, we probably know nothing, Jon Snow. Number 4, skin problems. This is a specific case that I had to share. A Russian lady found a small lump below her eye, her left eye to be specific, and at first she didn't think much of it, but eventually this lump was gone, which is a good sign, but then a new lump had appeared later on. This time it was on her lip. Odd. So when she went to go see a doctor about this lip problem, which is new and the eye problem's now gone, they removed a Dirofilaria repens, which is a thin worm, crawls around in the face. Hence why the bump was disappearing and then reappearing later on. It was moving around. I just got goosebumps talking about that. Now normally this type of worm only affects animals, dogs, cats, foxes, anything like that. They spread through mosquito bites as well. So next time you're in the woods smacking your arms, I dare you to not think of this. Good game. Number 3, particle accelerator. This list is full of unsettling things. I mean, I hope. I think they're pretty batshit insane, but this next one actually concerns me about our future. I don't mess with science. The at-home volcano trick where you like put in the vinegar and it goes poof, I don't do that. That's even scary for me. What if one experiment could hypothetically swallow our known universe? Would we do it? Sure, sounds fun. Why not? What have we got to lose at this point? Sir Martin Rees, Britain's royal astronomer, shines some light on a dark possibility in his book titled On the Future. The particle accelerator is this massive machine that does exactly that. It smashes these charged particles together at a high speed, all in the name of science. We're trying to further understand condensed matter physics, and while it sure sounds impressive, what if it goes south? What would happen? Well, it could destroy the world, apparently. These particles smashing together could create this strange matter that shrinks Earth down to 300 feet in diameter. Or it creates a black hole, one of the two. A black hole would just suck away all of our existence, or we'd be little tiny people. Thanks, Martin. Now I won't be able to sleep because I'm thinking of particle colliders and Freddy Krueger. Both are equally as haunting. Number 2, no more insects. This one I wish I didn't know. Ignorance is bliss, folks. But we're kind of doomed. No easy way to say it. And so is the bug spray industry, apparently. The world is losing insects, which if you're a little kid or if you're me, sounds like a good thing at first. I don't like bugs. Any bugs. But when scientists tell us that the world has 70% less bugs than it did back in just the 80s, well, that's pretty concerning. Unsettling things scientists don't want us to see. I mean, this one they probably don't mind us taking a peek into. But we don't talk about this nearly enough. These buggy dudes are vital for our crops. The movie Interstellar, for example, is about our future and future humans running out of crops. So we should have been listening to Christopher Nolan this entire time. I knew it. Go watch Dark Knight, there's probably some clues in there somewhere. We're too focused on robots gaining the ability to do parkour that we're forgetting the sad science as well. And finally, coming in at number 1, mad cow disease. While we've got our hands full of this COVID madness, let me just add another one there to top you up. I stumbled across this Reddit thread here. It was titled, Scientists of Reddit, what are some scary scientific discoveries that most of the public is unaware of? Yeah, I read through a bunch of them, pretty scary, but I found this gem and had to finish the list off. One reply got lots of feedback, tons of support as well, and there's a great deal of people who just may be carrying around mad cow disease. But we won't know for another decade, give or take. So, sit tight. stay tuned, I guess. Mad cow disease from the 80s and 90s was due to cows being fed the remains of other animals. Pretty horrible stuff. People then ate their beef and consumed prions, a protein that can destroy the human brain, and it's thought that many people still might carry prions but won't know until they start experiencing the symptoms, which could be 10 to 50 years after consuming said contaminated meat. It has a really long incubation period, and you can also contract the prions from blood transfusions, which is the reason why so many UK citizens from that time period still aren't allowed to donate blood. Fun fact, this is a very real thing. And to answer your question, no, there is no cure, and it can kill you in just a few months. How's that for unsettling? Guys,
Starting off the countdown, we have the pigs. In 2013, 16,000 dead pigs were found in Shanghai's Huangpu River, which is what supplies the city's tap water. Now, officials were all like, yeah, it's still safe to drink. Meanwhile, the water turned brown and dead pigs were just floating in it. Now, some of the pigs had died from a common disease that normally affects pigs. Luckily, it can't be transferred to humans. Others were dumped there by illegal pig farms. It was a very disturbing and gruesome discovery. This water is one of the city's main water sources for its 23 million residents. And obviously, officials received a lot of backlash and people didn't want to drink the water, no matter how safe they said it was. In our 9th spot, we have the parasite. So there's a parasite that can literally nestle its way under your skin and then live there. This is known as Dirofilaria repin. It typically infects dogs, cats, foxes, and other animals. But it turns out that they can be transferred to humans too. For example, it can be spread by mosquito bites. And then this worm will live in your tissue under your skin and can continue to grow there. This is what happened to a Russian woman. Basically, she discovered a small lump below her left eye, and she didn't really think anything of it. That was until the lump moved. It moved to right above her eye. The next thing you know, she had a bump on her lip. That's when she sought medical attention, and turns out she had this thing living under her skin, moving around her face. The worst part is that she has no idea how she got it. Moving on to number 8, we have the dog's lick. In 2018, Greg Mantefol's life changed forever. He was a loving dog owner who loved spending time with his dog. However, it led to him getting admitted to a hospital. Turns out he was infected by a bacteria called Capnocytophaga. How did he become affected with this? Well, he got it from his dog. In particular, it was spread when his dog was licking him. In the end, it led to the amputation of his legs and parts of his arms. Apparently, this bacteria lives in most household pets without a problem. But if it gets passed to a human by a bite or scratch and it spreads through a person's bloodstream, that's when it can become deadly. Coming in at number 7, we have the water wars. As much as a quarter of the world's population now faces severe water scarcity at least 1 month out of the year. And it's believed that by 2030, a drought could put up to 700 million people at risk of displacement. And that's what they are preparing for. Due to climate change, places in the world are facing increased droughts. Due to overpopulation, more people are having trouble accessing water. Scientists believe that in the future, there will be a water war. People with power will try to get their hands on as much water and start a war over it. American scientist Peter Gleck says that there will be 3 types of water conflicts. One is the trigger, the thing that starts it. That's when the disputes break out over access and control of water. Then you have weapon, where water or water systems are being used as weapons in conflicts. For example, dams, using dams to withhold water or flood downstream communities. And lastly, you have the targets, where water resources or treatment plants or pipelines are targeted during conflicts, maybe even destroyed. It's very scary to think that our life might come to this. Moving on to number 6, we have the increased floods. Now, scientists obviously don't want us to worry, but there are a lot of things we need to worry about. For example, the increasing number of floods some places are going to face. This is a picture taken in Tewkesbury, England. A once popular child's playground is now seen submerged underwater. This was due to 2 nearby rivers flooding because of climate change and unpredictable weather patterns. Scientists say that in the upcoming years, we are going to be hit with more unpredictable and extreme weather, such as more floods, droughts, hurricanes, etc. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the walruses. If you're an animal lover like me, then brace yourself because this next image is going to hit you hard. So walruses, when they need a break, will rest on land or ice, but they prefer to take their little breaks on sea ice. However, over the last decade, the ice has been melting, forcing thousands of walruses to haul out on Alaskan beaches. This is what you're seeing here. Thousands of walruses resting on the beach. This is not natural at all. We are destroying their home and way of life. In 2014, over 35,000 walruses were resting on a beach near Point Lay, including 36 dead ones. Later, 50 dead walruses were discovered. Margaret Williams, managing director of the Arctic program at the World Wildlife Fund, said, and I quote, "The massive concentration of walruses on shore, where they should be scattered broadly in ice-covered waters, is just one example of the impacts of climate change on the distribution of marine species in the Arctic." We need to change our ways of life before we kill off walruses for good. Coming in at number 4, we have the 3D printed skin. It's crazy how fast we have advanced with our technology. In a short time frame, we went from black and white TV to high definition TVs with surround sound systems, and cell phones that are like literally mini TVs. And now scientists have found a way to make skin. In 2017, scientists created a 3D bioprinter prototype that was able to produce fully functional human skin. The skin can then be grafted onto or into patients where need be. First, it's skin. Next, it's gonna be human organs created by this device. I mean, it's impressive, but it's also quite scary. Coming in at number 3, we have the human head transplant. So scientists are currently working on a way to transplant one person's head to another person's body. And apparently, successful transplants have already been completed with monkeys, dogs, and rats. They take the decapitated heads and attach them to a new body. However, the animals haven't been able to control their new bodies since they didn't reattach them through the spine. In 2016, an Italian surgeon claims that he successfully performed a head transplant on a monkey, but due to ethics reasons, it had to be euthanized after a short while. Is this the direction medicine is taking us? Apparently, there are a number of willing human volunteers, so more experiments will be performed in the upcoming years. Moving on at number 2, we have memory loss. So you know the neutralizer used in the movies Men in Black? It's the device used to wipe out people's memories. Well, scientists have created something like that in real life. Basically, scientists are working on creating a device to wipe the human brain of specific fears or memories or phobias, even PTSD triggers. They are doing this by using a combination of brain scanning technology and artificial intelligence. Basically, the SparksNotes version here is that they will scan the brain to identify patterns that resemble a specific fear memory and then just wipe it out to make the patient feel neutral. Voila, no more fears. Only problem is, what if this technology gets into the wrong hands and people use it to manipulate other people's brains? And in our number 1 spot today, we have the robotic surgeons. In 2016, a robot performed the first surgery by itself. Now, the surgery was performed on a pig, but it was successful. So scientists and surgeons are coming together to create robotic surgeons. They believe that robots will be able to perform procedures far more accurately than humans. There's just a few problems with this. 1, let's not have robots take over our jobs. 2, robots can glitch or go haywire, and we really don't need that if they're doing life-saving surgery. Like imagine malfunctioning during open heart surgery. No, just no.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the reenactment. This photo is extremely unsettling and for a very good reason. If, when you look at this photo, your instincts tell you that the guy in them is creepy, ding ding ding, you're right. This is a photo that features the German serial killer Joachim Kroll. He is known for taking the lives of 14 people, all varying in age, and he is known for also consuming parts of their flesh. This monster was caught in 1976, and he was discovered when police found out that he had clogged the plumbing in his apartment with remains of one of his victims. How gruesome is that? This photo was taken shortly after he was caught and arrested, and what you're seeing is Kroll reenacting one of his crimes for the police. I get goosebumps just thinking about that. I couldn't imagine being there or being the police officer he's on top of. Talk about terrifying. I'm just glad that they caught him and got him off of the street. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Pioneer's Defense. This photo is known as the Pioneer's Defense, and man, does it ever look creepy. This photo comes from 1937, and it was taken by a Russian photographer named Viktor Bulla. This photo takes place in the Leningrad area, which is now known as St. Petersburg, which is the second largest city in Russia. The people in this photo were part of a group that was the 1930s Russian equivalent of our Boy Scouts that was called the Young Pioneers. The masks on their faces leaves a very eerie feeling, and for a fair reason. These people were doing a military preparation drill, which is the reason for the gas masks. This photo was taken during a time when the country was under the dictatorship of Joseph Stalin, and the residents were constantly unsure of what was going to happen. The country was already seeing death, and people were already frightened just a few years before the start of World War II, and those in this photo felt the need to be prepared for the worst case scenario. In our number 8 spot today, we have the net test. This photo comes to us from 1958, and it is quite an interesting one. At a first glance, it looks fun, but then when you catch the expression on the person's face and look a little more into it, it really just leaves you with a ton of questions as to what exactly is going on here. It looks like a guy is going on some sort of a roller coaster ride, but what is actually happening is that a prisoner is being used to test safety nets before they were mass produced. Yeah, not the good time we thought it was. This comes from a time where capital punishment was much more widespread throughout the United States, and those waiting on death row couldn't just sit around waiting for their day to come. I think it's probably best that we made the switch to crash test dummies and that sort of thing, and this photo just remains as an eerie reminder of the less than great choices that were made in the past. In our number 7 spot today, we have a burst of joy. You might be looking at this photo wondering how this extremely joyous photo could hold any dark secrets. Well, this photo won a Pulitzer Prize, and for a good reason. This photo was captured by Slava Vetter on March 17, 1973 at the Travis Air Force Base in California. This photo shows United States Air Force Lieutenant Robert L. Sturm and his family. This was taken as he was being reunited with his family after 5 years of being held as a prisoner of war in North Vietnam. On October 27, 1967, he was leading a flight of F-105s when he was shot down over Hanoi and held captive until March 14, 1973. I can't imagine what this must have been like for his family, because there was a huge chance that he could have not come home at all. The looks on their faces, of course, clearly show that this photo is capturing an exceptionally joyful moment. It's just the story behind this moment that leaves us all with that unsettling feeling. In our number 6 spot today, we have Ghost Boy. This photo is said to have been taken inside of the infamous Amityville Horror House in 1976. It is said that this creepy vintage photo is still one of the most chilling paranormal photos of all time. Yep, that's right, this photo is said to be of a ghost. After the DeFeo killing, the next owner of the house, George Lutz, swore that the house was haunted, and he called in none other than Ed and Lorraine Warren, the most famous paranormal investigators ever. On one night of the investigations, they set up an automatic camera on the second floor of the house, and this photo is said to have been caught then. Some believe that the ghostly face staring back is that of a young John Defoe who lost his life in this house. I'm not 100% sure either way, but what I am sure of is that if this is actually a photo of a ghost and not a real person, that is ridiculously creepy. In our number 5 spot today, we have a UFO report. This is less of a photo and is actually more like a PDF, but I still felt like it applied to today's list. This is a previously classified document from 1963. Although the document still has a ton of information that has been blacked out, the document is the description and report of an unidentified flying object, or a UFO encounter. This is said to have taken place over the desert of Nevada, and the report was written in detail in order to have a written record of the event. This document is said to have been the authentic report from the FBI, which is exactly why some of the details have still been omitted. This might seem like less of a big deal now, as in this day and age we have declassified video footage of similar kinds of encounters, but for 1963 this was huge. As discussions of alien or extraterrestrial life is a big part of our modern day society, this document shows that these things have been on our minds for many, many years now. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Apollo 1 prayer. This photo was originally taken and meant to be a sort of lighthearted prank or joke, but it would later turn out to be a chilling image. This photo shows the Apollo 1 crew jokingly praying over a miniature model of their command module. The 3 men in the photo are Roger Chaffee, Virgil Grissom, and Ed White, and sadly during a test launch on January 27, 1967, they all burned to death. To make this story even worse, prior to the test, the 3 of them had voiced concerns about the amount of flammable material that was on the craft. craft. The fire was determined to have been caused by an electrical fault, and it spread extremely quickly due to combustible nylon material coupled with the high-pressure, pure oxygen atmosphere in the cabin. They also were unable to be rescued or escape because the plug door hatch couldn't be opened against the internal pressure of the cabin. Before this test, it was believed that since there was no fuel on the rocket, it would be relatively safe, which is exactly why there wasn't more preparedness in case of emergency. Looking back now, this photo is certainly more mysterious than anyone at the time could have ever imagined. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Hilo tsunami. This photo comes to us from April 1st, 1946. This is the day when an 8.6 magnitude earthquake hit just off of the coast of the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. As we all know, earthquakes can often have after effects, and this one sent shockwaves throughout the Pacific. This led to the formation of an ocean-wide tsunami that had waves reaching up to 13 stories high. This disaster went on to strike Hilo, Hawaii, in what became one of the worst disasters in Hawaiian history. This photo somehow survived the disaster, and it captures the terrifying view someone must have had in their last moments. This photo is especially chilling to view just days after the Tonga volcano eruption occurred. The Earth and these naturally occurring disasters are absolutely terrifying and powerful and unpredictable. In our number 2 spot today, we have the shadows. As most of us know, on August 6, 1945, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Hiroshima. This was devastating to the city, and of course we can understand the implications of this. This photo shows what is called a nuclear shadow, and this is just one that could be seen throughout the city. When the bomb detonated 1,900 feet above the center of the city, the explosion caused temperatures of 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit to spread through everything within 1,600 feet of it. This of course destroyed nearly everything and everyone within a mile of it. The light and heat from the bomb was so powerful that it bleached the exposed surfaces of the city, except as seen here, where an unsuspecting person was shielding the surface with their own body. It is truly such an eerie reminder of the impact that this really had. In our number 1 spot today, we have the crash. This is one of those photos that was just taken in the right place at the right time, but it shows a very scary situation. A man named Jim Meads is said to have taken this photo in 1962. The story goes that a man named Bob Sauray had mentioned to Jim that he was going to fly this plane, called the Lightning, the following day. Jim took his kids out for a walk that next day and took his camera with him, intending to get a shot of the aircraft as Bob flew it. He wanted to get a photo of his children with the airfield in the background just as the plane was coming in to land. They found the spot, they got all set up, just waiting for the plane to return. Turns out that day Bob didn't fly the plane, and instead the pilot was actually a man named George Aird, who was another test pilot. So George is up in the plane and he realizes that there's trouble. Since I don't know plane language, I'm gonna use this quote from fearoflanding.com, which wrote, quote, "Whilst carrying out a demonstration flight, there was a fire in the aircraft's reheat zone. Unburnt fuel in the rear fuselage had been ignited by a small crack in the jet pipe and had weakened the tailplane actuator anchorage. This weakened the tailplane control system, which failed with the aircraft at 100 feet on final approach. This led to the plane pitching up aggressively as George came in to land. George lost control and he ejected in order to save himself. Luckily, since the nose had pitched up, he had just enough time. The tractor driver in this photo was then 15-year-old Mike Sutterby, who had spent that summer working on this airfield. He wasn't actually posing, he was telling Jim to move since he wasn't supposed to be there, before turning to look at what was happening behind him. This is all what led to this photo being snapped and this story surviving all of these years. In the end, George was okay, aside from some minor injuries, and while Jim didn't get the photo he set out for that day, he still got quite an